Hey guys, and welcome back to another VFX breakdown video here on my channel. So I decided, since it's November and kind of a theme in November in the past has been to do Zelda month. So I'm going to do Zelda month here for November on this channel. We're going to do a lot of Zelda themed visual effects breakdowns because we've done a lot of Zelda themed videos in the past for CK Productions. And I think it would be fun to go back and look at a lot of the effects that we've done over the many years that we've been doing Zelda themed videos. And today we're going to break down the Breath of the Wild Adventure series. And I'm going to do it a little bit differently than we normally do. I'm not going to go on the camera this time because it's much quicker to do it this way, do a screen recording for you guys and go through, because really it's the footage that's important, not my face. My face isn't that important, let's be honest here. So there's 6 videos in the Breath of the Wild Adventure series. There's also some extra ones, but for this purpose, we're going to focus on the main 6. We're going to skip episode 5 because there really isn't many effects in that. I'm going to do 1 effect per video, and probably later this month, for some of the videos, we're going to go a little bit more in depth into some of those effects. So let's get started. And as always, before we get into it, be sure to like and subscribe. I post videos on Thursdays and Sundays when I can. I know the schedule's been a little inconsistent lately just because there's been a lot going on with work that's required a lot of my attention. And on a happier note, Brandon from CK Productions actually got married this weekend. So that was very excited. So we've been doing a lot for that. A lot of stuff going on, but a lot of good stuff going on. So let's get back into it here. So we're going to talk about the obvious effect here in the first video. Pretty much the only effect that we do throughout the video, but we do it multiple times, is doing the little Korok, putting the Korok into the effect here. So like you guys can probably imagine, this was done with a green screen effect. Well, actually for this one, it was a blue screen effect because of the green leaves that we have here and the green in the costume here. This is actually, funny enough, this is actually a Groot costume from Guardians of the Galaxy. This is done by putting the actor here onto the blue screen and doing a full body blue screen as well, so we can use the feet. And doing a basic chroma key here, go ahead and put them onto the background. We shot a blank plate here. And that's basically what we did for all of the different Korok effects throughout. And this one being one of the easier ones. One of the more difficult ones was putting the Korok here into Brandon's backpack as well. This was also, you know, chroma key, putting it in here, but it was also masking here and making sure that this part of the backpack was eclipsing the character here and also making her animate. Well, that sounds really weird. And animating that mask, see, it kind of covers her here and then she's fully revealed here, but we still have the mask going on here, and having a tracker in to this spot as well. That was just done with like a 2D motion track, either on the zipper or something here on the backpack. Bless you, me. That was weird. And then for some of the scenes, we have the little acorn, the Korok seed here. Sometimes it was practical and sometimes we just had little animated effect in there, and it kind of goes, he pretends like he catches it. The one where she actually hands him the Korok seed here is done with a quick cut. There, we do a cut where there's no Korok seed in his hand. We do a sort of a fake little movement animation here on the frames, and then we cut to the shot where he has the Korok seed in his hand, basically. Happens so quickly that you barely even notice it. Now you all are gonna notice it because I pointed it out. Okay, so here's a very specific shot that happens in the second one that has probably the most of VFX done into it. All right, obviously it's the part where Link is making these ice blocks and jumping across them here. So this is done with multiple different effects here. So obviously we both have green screen, full body shots of Brandon and Joe here, and animated accordingly when he jumps as well. This is a blank shot of the lake here. It definitely is not this shallow at this point, but you know, we wanted to make it look like it was shallow. And basically what was done here is we have obviously them animating accordingly, but for these ice blocks here, these were done in Cinema 4D. Actually, there's a specific tutorial that a cool guy does. His name's Grayscale Gorilla. He does a lot of Cinema 4D tutorials online and stuff. So that's kind of the one that I follow to be able to do these ice blocks here. They're basically a rectangular shape done in Cinema 4D and made to make kind of an icy transparency color to it, and that there's an effect, sort of a noise, kind of a fractal noise type of effect that you can go and put on the layer here to make it look like it's sort of this icy form here, and you can go and you can make the properties very specific to how you want it to be. And there's certain lighting effects that kind of use the refraction here to make it look more like ice. Doing that and making them animate. And hi Mooney, how's it going Mooney? What you doing? And just adding the splash coming out of the water here. This was done with probably one of the Video Copilot splash packs or whatever. Putting in here and blending everything, make it just obviously to add to the effect of them popping out of the water here, and adding a little bit of an icy glow here with a particular layer as well, just to add, add to the effect, add to the realism to a bit. The final touch that helps with this effect as well is something you might not notice at first, is the reflection here on the water. So it's important to add this little reflection to make it look more realistic here. It's just very subtle, and it kind of disappears into nothingness here using feathering, masks, and whatever. And also kind of done here for Brandon as well. And I think it actually really helps sell Brandon's effect here. He's walking across. So that's something I was really happy with, and I think turned out pretty well. It's not the best effect, honestly, because when you do green screen, when you're kind of limited to just having the kind of full body green screen in one area, it doesn't always look the best. You're really gonna need a full green screen studio with like blocks set up and whatever to make this look truly, truly, truly accurate, and maybe even throw a sweeping camera move in there or something. But so let's move on. Okay, so for the blue flame effect, this is basically the only effect that we did throughout this third video here, and it's the same effect kind of replicated over and over again. What are you doing? Are you on your back? Do you want a belly rub? I'll give you one later, Mooney. That's my cat, by the way, if you haven't picked up on that already. Basically what happens on this effect here, this is a Video Copilot Action Essentials fire layer, like torch turbulent 1 or 2 or whatever, put on here, and then with hue and saturation effects, making it more of a blue cyan sus, and then putting it on a screen mode so it has more of kind of a glowy feel to it. And basically all I had to do was animate this, position the keyframe so it would stay on the Boko Club here, and just go through, and wherever the Boko Club goes, the flame would go as well. And that could be done with motion tracking, 3D motion tracking as well, but a lot of it honestly was done by hand, so keyframe to keyframe to keyframe. And luckily there wasn't that many crazy moves that it was very, very difficult to do. So for this shot here, I had to actually, it took a little longer than you probably think. I had to actually kind of put a light rotoscope around him when he's walking to do the glow effect. It's just a red solid layer put on screen or something, and maybe adding a glow to it, and then animating in and out, following the mask around him, and then picking different fire shots within the same kind of fire pack that we had, and timing them up so that it looked like they would kind of animating on and then staying with him for the entire time here. And it just looks really funny, honestly. I forgot that it actually has him die here.
Here we go.
All right, wow. So obviously, in episode 4 of the series, there's a lot of effects in it. And I sort of went over how to make one of these Guardian effects here in an earlier video about a couple of years ago, but we'll do kind of a revisit to that. here. So this is actually honestly one of my most proud effects that I put together making these Guardians. It took a long time to actually come up with the true, you know, best effect that I thought would be good for this video. I went through a bunch of different trials of how I would do it, and I kind of filmed this without really realizing the best way to do it. I kind of figured I would figure it out later. And you know, I was originally going to model the Guardians in Cinema 4D and stuff, but I was struggling a little bit because I'm not the best modeler when it comes to Cinema 4D and stuff. So I kind of stepped back and said, let's look at the materials that I had. And there's this model pack that comes with Element 3D for Video Copilot, and it's called a Motion Design 2, I think, or Motion Design or something. And it's got a lot of different kind of mechanical, machine looking models to it, a lot of like gears and rings and, you know, just metal slabs and stuff. And what I basically did was I took a combination of a whole bunch of those different models in that pack here, and I put them together and created this sort of mechanical looking drone thing that was, you know, maybe like 80%, 75%, you know, similar to how the Guardian drones look in the game itself environment, adding the glow to it as well, and adding the similar colors to kind of top off the effect. It was actually very, you know, enjoyable figuring out ways to make it move and make it look more lively, and figuring out how to do the propellers and stuff. A lot of problem solving, but it was very, you know, it was very much worth it in the end to figure all that out. If you want to see a more detailed breakdown of how I make one of these Guardian figures there, you can go ahead and you can look at one of the past videos that I made here, but it's a really fun process putting this together. Obviously, the big effect here is the Ganon Blight as well. Honestly, actually, the more time-consuming effect done in this video was this right here. This took, honestly, probably the most time, maybe even more time than making the Ganon thing animate. This, making the sword glow here, because the sword's supposed to glow whenever you fight Ganon, and we use the joke that it's the ultimate glowy sword and it doesn't break or whatever. Doing a rotoscope around the sword for every single shot that was in, I mean, the sword was in more shots than Ganon itself. So having to go through and rotoscope the sword for every shot was honestly a very time-consuming process, and you have to get it really right, because if you don't get it right, or if you're kind of lazy and skip a few steps, it's really kind of obvious when the sword, even if, I mean, honestly, you could even see that wasn't even a perfect spot right there. The glowing thing jumps a bit right there. See? It jumps a bit at the end there. So if you're really sloppy with your rotoscoping here, you get a lot of stuff like that, and it really kind of takes away from the effect. And I mean, obviously the Ganon structure here is done with a similar process to the Guardians as well, but just a couple more extra steps to it. I built this structure here using the same kind of motion design pack as the Guardians itself, using a whole bunch of different layers and a whole bunch of different materials and stuff. But I also had to bring the entire, once I was done with modeling the actual character itself, I had to bring it into Cinema 4D as a sort of a big object layer, and I had to give it bones, sort of. I had to create a skeleton for it, where there would be a skeleton up the back and there'd be a skeleton down the arms and stuff, to make it able to have sort of limbs and be able to animate these limbs accordingly, you know, independent from all the other objects in the scene. And that was kind of a challenging part that took a lot of effort to try to figure out. There's a lot of jumping between Cinema 4D and Element 3D and kind of testing things out and seeing what would be the best sequence. In the initial shot, I had to go obviously and make the model of this guy and make the model of the weapon and the structure and everything. And I mean, I got a lot of confidence after doing the Guardians thing, the Guardian video itself, that I'd be able to do this. Originally, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have kind of a Ganon character, kind of like what Tony did for Infinity War. Have a Ganon character be on green screen and kind of be floating around and being like, "Ooh, I'm Ganon" and stuff. But after the success of the Guardian video, I was able to do that. I figured I'd kind of try to do the same thing and make a Ganon Blight. Something I honestly, one of the most proud effects that I've done, you know, from CK Productions to this date. That's basically the main effects that were done in the series. If there are any other specific effects that we've done in any Zelda videos or any of the Breath of the Wild videos we've done in the past, feel free to comment those down below. I'm going to be going over some more effects and some more kind of production tips and stuff that have to do with our Zelda videos that we've done over the years. As it's being Zelda month here on this channel, be sure to like and subscribe for those future videos and more visual effects breakdowns, cinematography tutorials, editing tutorials, tips, tricks, and all types of filmmaking things. And with that, I'll see you guys for the next video. Bye, everyone.